Ryan, you fled the UK on suspicion of arrest. The government has frozen your bank accounts. Tell us why.
Well, so 12,000 people are arrested in the UK every year. Compare that to like 400 in Russia. It's absolute nonsense. I just can't believe the UK's turned out this way. It's like, how do I tell my mum, who's a Korean mum, I'm now a fugitive? It's ludicrous, but gets me a lot of Tinder dates, I guess. I'm joking about the Tinder dates.
Well, you've been here for how long now in New York?
I've been here for about 2 weeks, and it's been wild, man. I mean,
how does freedom taste?
Freedom tastes like a soggy couch. That's what I've been sleeping on. So
if any of you know of a place for Ryan to sleep, he is looking for couches around America.
This is what being famous. I don't think I'm famous, but I guess this is what it feels like. Just running away and trying to stay hidden. But I'm in a city with Mandami, who's going to be future mayor, potentially. Well, hopefully not, but it seems likely. So with all these kind of Hamas protests going around, I'm kind of just trying to lay low. But there's 1 billion people who look like me, so no problem.
In America alone. Let me tell you this. George Orwell said, if liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. Has the UK abandoned freedom of speech?
So the UK, just by the results, right, 12,000 people a year, that's no joke. That's way higher, as I said, than even Russia, even China. Even China, come on, China is arresting less people than the UK. That's just ridiculous. There's a 2006 hate speech law, which you're not really allowed to go too far in taking the piss out of religions. I think I do that. I've breached it many times. There's a line, and the line is now a dot to me. So, but I don't do it because of any hatred towards Muslims. I mean, I've only ever had very good experiences with Muslims. It's just Islam is a really bad system, and we should be able to critique bad or evil systems.
So tell us about this, because a lot of people would say that you hate Muslims, but you would say that you hate Islam.
Exactly. I mean, I'm technically a Muslim by now. Do you know this?
No,
I've said, Ashhadu ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah.
Which means?
Which basically means there's one God and blah, 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 but basically, if you say it 3 times, I'm a Muslim. So, I'm a very bad Muslim at the moment.
So for the people who would critique you in that way, what would you tell them? How would you correct them?
I would say you can't use your lazy excuses on me. You can't call me a white supremacist. Although some people do try. And when they do, I'm like, oh, this is just lovely white privilege. I mean, this is what I dreamed about. I always wanted to be white when I grew up, I mean, why not? I mean, they're the people who invented 97% of everything in the world. Or even more, probably like 99%. Actually, it was the Scots. The Scots have invented pretty much the modern world. This tiny race on a small island. It's not even most of the island, it's just a bit of the island. And they've just invented the modern world. They're incredible people. I have got to give it to white people. People say, oh, you're a white bootlicking person. I go, well, why not? Why not? I mean, look at all the beautiful stuff they've created. Look at the Basilica, the Pantheon Basilica. I just kind of think, well, we've got billions of people over in our side of the world. Why have we not created something as beautiful as the Basilica Pantheon? Why have we not come up with enlightenment? Why have we not come up with something as beautiful as the Magna Carta? Why have we not, the British ended slavery in 1807. I mean, this is not an easy task. They had to fight the French, Arab, Spanish, Portuguese, and the Arab Empire mainly, which traded more slaves and for longer than the British Empire. They traded slaves for 1,400 years. And they're still trading slaves right now. Ridiculous. And a blob of spit just went out because that's how angry I am at it. Why does the British Empire need to take sole responsibility for this? Why can't we respect our white brothers? You're a white brother. Why is it cringe for me to say, I respect you, dude? Because you respect your Asian brothers, don't you? Clearly, to be in here and, to interview me. It's like, there's no racism when there's meritocracy. We love each other as brothers, and we're here to fight the good cause and, fealty to the cause, Let's
Do you have Muslim brothers?
I do. I speak to Muslims probably more than any other race or group of people, because I need to try and have the back and forth to make sure that what I'm talking about is not absolute bullshit. I do try and make sure that I give a fair representation on every side. Obviously, for the humorous side, like, leave the goats alone. It's highly effective. Humor is a very beautiful tool to get a very simple message out there. But then we've got podcasts for this and discussions to allow for the complexity. But the fact is, if you're speaking to the average Asian, they have no bloody clue about Islam. They don't have any idea who Prophet Muhammad is. They probably don't even know what the Quran is. Sounds like a nice curry. They don't know the very basics. Like, Prophet Muhammad was the Bonnie Blue of the 7th century, sleeping with 30 men of al-Zud. Okay, that's esoteric. But he slept with a 9-year-old and married Aisha, the same girl, at 6 years old.
You mentioned that comedy is a great way to get across a message. What is that message?
The message is, we need to be able to critique evil systems. It doesn't mean everybody is bad. Look at Nazi Germany. Do you know what's the percentage of Germans who were actually Nazis during World War II? It was 11%. Officially 11%.
Do you mean a part of the Nazi army or a supporter of Hitler?
A part of the Nazi party. But the people who actually, believed in the ideals and those kind of things, it wasn't too much higher. It was only about 24% or something like that. So you kind of think such an evil system doesn't require 100% of people to believe in it to produce very bad results. You only need to... Muslims, extremist Muslims, according to intelligence services all around the world, is between 15 to 25%. Out of 2 billion Muslims, that's over 300 million Muslims. That's almost the population of the United States after me.
So do you believe...
Wanting to behead me.
Well, do you believe that... how much of a percentage do you believe of the Muslim community believes the things that you're against, and how much are just culturally Muslim?
It's a rather high number. 11% of British Pakistanis believe, British Muslims believe in the death penalty for a guy who drew a cartoon of their Prophet Muhammad, a Danish journalist who drew a cartoon. It's laughable. Come on. This is, by any standards, to behead somebody for drawing a cartoon. 65% of British Pakistanis, according to an NHS National Health Service Bradford study, they are having inbred babies, not with some distant cousin, with their first cousin.
I was doing some research on this actually, and I found that what we typically think of as First Amendment style free speech in the US doesn't exist in the UK. It says here it's protected in the UK only insofar as Parliament allows it. And so you mentioned that 2006 Act. There was the Online Safety Act of 2023, which expands what counts as a legal speech to anything that's grossly offensive, likely to cause distress, hate, or are subjectively determined to be offensive in general. And so as a result, we've seen things like Count Dunkula. I don't know if you've heard of Mark Meechan. He was jailed for a satirical video. Darren Brady, who was arrested for a meme about pride flags, and then journalist Alison Pearson, who was investigated by UK police for a tweet she made. And the argument they're saying is a right that cannot be safely exercised is not a right, it's an illusion. Freedom of speech ceases when it only protects fashionable ideas.
My arse is so going to jail. And with these tits, the Muslims are going to be all over it. I mean, the fact is, in jail, the fastest growing religion in jail in the UK is Islam. And it's unbelievable the statistics that are coming out. The crime rate, something like 90% of all child grooming gangs come from this tiny proportion of the population, which is the Islamists. They are the Islamists who are 90% committing all the child grooming gang violence and crime. That's disgusting. Why is that happening? Is it innate? Is it genetic? I'm actually not being so racist by saying, I don't think it's any of that. I think it's culture. I think culture can change it. Shout out to brilliant Arabs and Mediterraneans. I like to call them Mediterraneans because, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Coptic Christians, Iran, former Zoroastrians. They didn't have, Muslim religion didn't exist. It's a fairly new concept, 7th century concept. It's a bloody new thing. It hasn't been tried and tested like the Judaism, Buddhism, Christianity, shout out to Christianity. It's just brilliant. I mean, the fact that love thy neighbor, these are such brilliant principles for peacefulness. I would say that I call myself a Christian. I don't really believe in much else apart from Jesus. I believe that he was around and this dude created brilliant technology for humanity. Essentially, for the entire, as humans existed, we've been throwing stones at each other. And then one guy just said, I'm not going to throw a stone back. And that's when humanity is kind of started. Civilization could build. And then Jesus came along and said, love thy neighbor, forgive and I don't think it's forgive and forget. That's probably a fridge magnet. But, along the lines of that, it's a good idea. It's a genuinely good idea. As a Christian, I say I hesitate to call myself a Christian because I breach love thy neighbor rule a lot. I just cannot love a neighbor who thinks it's okay to marry a 6-year-old. I'm sorry. I refuse. It's just like, where's the common sense gone? I just cannot do that.
I don't blame you. One thing you mentioned is that you have a lot of conversations with Muslims.
Yeah.
How do those go? And what's the biggest pushback you get on your content?
Look, shout out to them. I've still got my head. So it hasn't gone too badly wrong, right? Although I'm sure they imagine my head in a different place to my body a few times. However, it comes from a place where a lot of the Muslims I speak to, they actually don't know a lot of this shit themselves. They don't get taught. They maybe read the Hadith or the Musnad. Probably not the Musnad.
For our viewers, what's the difference?
So you've got the Quran, which is the first, the most authoritative text. And then you've got the Hadiths, which is a bunch of supporting texts. And then you've got the Musnads, which are like what the Talmud is for the Jews. And the Musnad is wild, man. I mean, between the Hadith and the Musnad. I mean, the Hadith is where you get all the juicy stuff. So in the Sahih International Al-Bukhari, I like to say Al-Bukhari. So my head is going to be dislodged more and more every single day. In the Al-Bukhari edition, Al-Bukhari edition, Surah 4, chapter 4, verse 34. If you fear disobedience from a woman, forsake her in bed, admonish her, and then strike her. It's just rather odd.
Do you believe that most Muslims don't follow the Quran?
So, yeah, obviously they don't. Most Muslims are very naughty bastards. No, I'm doing it. They're normal human beings, and we're all very flawed creatures, right? I'm just saying that why follow a system that is so heavily flawed? And I believe Muslims are good people in spite of Islam, not because of Islam. So people say to me, oh, I know this lovely Muslim, she's very nice to me. Because she's a human being. We're not really designed to be shitheads to each other. I mean, we're here to help each other out. We naturally want to, pet a nice, cute dog. Oh, actually, they don't like dogs, so that was a bad example. We naturally want to help each other out. It's a very human thing to do. Some of the most generous people will be when you go to the Middle East. I mean, in general, I think that poorer countries tend to be nicer, more welcoming. It's just because social currency is something that they have. They don't have fiscal currency. They're not wealthy like us, especially the Jews. No, I'm joking. Where time is more valuable, right? Because time is money where we're from. Countries, super economic countries like Singapore, Hong Kong, former British Empire countries. We're successful. The UK. And we're successful because of culture. And as cultures, we're less generous with time, right? they have more time. So they're more generous with that and with food and these kind of things.
Sure.
Whereas for us, it's kind of like, I'll give you 20 minutes. You know?
So I can imagine you get a lot of pushback from strangers. Have you lost any personal relationships from your rise in the content world?
Well, I've lost my parents in a way. I've got wonderful parents, and it's so sad to see when I get an email from my mum saying, "You made me cry every single day. It's disgusting what you do." You know, my stepfather, who I really respect so much, and shout out to people who grew up with single parents and then a stepfather stepped in. They call stepfathers to me because they literally step in and they will love you no matter what. And I believe my stepfather loves me still, but he's very disappointed in me. He's of the ilk and generation. He's a wonderful guy, Scottish guy from a small island up north. He's grown up with kindness. He's got genuine warmth and he's got a beautiful soul. So he cannot comprehend why I would be so, I would say such things about other people, other human beings. And it's because he's such a wonderful human being and I'm such a shithead that I can do what I do. I can see evil because I know what it looks like. It takes one to know one. And my dad, he just doesn't have that in his body. He's just a wonderful human being, a good Christian. And that's the thing. They cannot comprehend evil. My dad certainly can. And I hate the fact that I disappoint him, but it's a decision I've made and I reevaluate it a lot, but it makes no sense to me not to speak up.
So the conviction to speak up is higher than the comfort you have of just going home.
Yeah, and that pains me than the thought of going to jail, the thought of losing my career. Before this, I was a fairly successful K-pop musician. I'm an uplifting, euphoric trance producer on Ableton. That's what I love doing. I just loved Tiesto, Elements of Life, Adagio for strings. I loved all that shit, and I loved being a musician.
Well, let's peel that back. Behind the Scottish Korean, there's Ryan Williams, the classically trained cellist who turned into a trance cellist producer.
Yeah.
What's the story? Where did this start to get you right before a month and a half ago where you exploded onto the content scene?
Well, I'll tell you even before I became Ryan Williams, because obviously I know it sounds like a very Korean name, but I was something before. I was just a Korean kid who grew up fat and bullied in Scotland, in Edinburgh, where I grew up. That's where this deep yearning comes from. I wanted to become strong. I wanted to be what that kind of masculine figure that you kind of look up to. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to stand up for injustice. I grew up as a, typical Asian kid who plays cello. I was bullied by this horrendous ginger guy. Every time I walked to school, he used to hunt me down. Not because, I don't actually, I think it's lazy to say it's because of racism. It's just because I was an easy target. I was a fat, chubby Korean kid carrying a cello on his back, which is a massive thing. I was small. I looked like a turtle, and you flip me on my back. I'm like a turtle. I can't get back up, And this bloody kid, he used to come after me with such ferocity. It made me kind of want to go to the gym. And now I've got the tits to defend myself. How are they looking? They're looking, I need to get a bit of bacon on them. Yeah, eat your bacon and go pump the iron. But yeah, so as I was growing up as a cellist, classical cello, I was that geeky kid who was heavily bullied, heavily. I've heard, that's why no insult can really touch me. You can call me ching chong, whatever. I don't think this should be muted out. Racial abuse is just something that you're going to grow up with. So you have to deal with it. So it's one of those phrases. I don't know where it comes from. But Lord, give me the strength to make me stronger rather than get rid of all threats.
Sure.
Because that's just never going to happen. You're going to have peace through strength. And that's just a fact of life. So why did I grow up and turn into the Scottish Korean? That's it. I did not want to be weak.
And the bullying from a young age made you feel weak. And now it's easier to step back up and show strength as a result of that.
Yeah. You feel so pathetic. You feel like if you have a lifetime of being told you're subhuman because you're Asian, then you get that into your head. And well, now here comes the time where I can talk about my mom a little bit more. My mom, again, beautiful soul, but she looked up to white people. And of course she did. She was like, when I grow up, I want to marry a white man. Because it was her ticket out. And white men typically had more resources. They have a culture which is kinder to women than Asian men. And of course, most Asian women want to marry a white knight. For me, I looked up to you guys as a white knight. I still do. I think you guys are brilliant. I mean, so again, I just marvel at the true beauty that has been created. Such brilliant principles like freedom of speech, enlightenment. We just never really got there on our side of the world. And my mom used to go, "This is good because it's British," and this is the mentality any grateful immigrant should have. They should be damn grateful. My mom was so grateful every single day. She'd be like, "This is a good strawberry because this is a Britishy strawberry. A Britishy strawberry at the best too," you know? and I used to go, yeah, it's good because it's British. It's a sign of opulence. It's a sign of intellectual history. It's a sign of quality. Yeah, that's what Britain is to me.
I will say that as an immigrant in America myself, I find myself loving this country far more than people who are from here. And I certainly bond with immigrants more deeply over a love of this country because we know what it could be like elsewhere, which I think is what you're saying here.
Yeah.
Let me ask you.
And where are you from?
I'm from Australia. Born in Abu Dhabi, but Australia was where I spent most of my life. And even between an incredible country like Australia and the US, there is a vast difference in the level of freedom. And you've probably seen what's going on in Australia right now with a lot of the protests and the backlash that they have against the police. It's getting pretty crazy, and I believe it's as a result of that lack of freedom of speech. In Australia, we don't have freedom of speech. We have something what's called an implied right. It's not expressly written, but since it's not expressly said against it, it is assumed that it is somewhat, there. But I believe we are heading in the direction of the UK, which is more crackdown on social media posts. You're going to see arrests for tweets. You're going to see arrests for preaching on the sidewalk, whatever religion you might be.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to the people that claim you've abandoned your culture?
Which culture? The Korean one or the yellow one or the white one?
The Korean one. The Korean.
Look, I wear my culture on my face every single day, And one of the things I'm really proud about is that a lot of young Asian men, they go, "Oh, finally, we don't have to look up to Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan or Kim Jong-un." Not that they look up to him, but they go, "You're somebody who's seems like high testosterone, and you're funny, and thank you, just thank you for being another voice." Not that every Asian man will look up to me, but it's funny that I rose to kind of fame saying I'm hung like a chipmunk. I may be hung like a chipmunk, but I've got enough balls to fight Islam. And I'm half naked most of the time, wearing bacon on my shoulders. It's because I care so much about this issue. I don't give a shit about me. It's whatever I have to do to defeat this stupid propaganda, I will do it. Full communications warfare.
And in this sense, I'm sure a lot of people have reached out and said that's quite noble. I've obviously spoken a lot about the clapback you've received. What are some of the support that you've received?
Clapback sounds very naughty.
Besides the criticisms, what's some of the support that you've received from people? I'm sure people reach out on Instagram.
Yeah.
Your following is now at what, 600 and something thousand?
It's over 500,000.
Whereas a month ago it was.
Yeah, I grew it in 2 months. I'm like a hawk tour of anti-Islam, just.
And so what are those supporting messages that keep you going? Because I can't imagine it'd be fun waking up every day with so many hateful messages.
Look, I've only survived because people have bought me coffees on buymeacoffee.com, and some people donate just saying such beautiful messages. It's mainly British grannies. Shout out to British grannies. They're like, this is the most affirming thing that one could hear as an immigrant. They say, British grannies reach out and go, my grandfather or my father fought for this country during World War II. He died for this country. And what's happening to this country right now, to the UK, after they fought 2 world wars, is disgraceful. And I want to thank you. Buy a coffee, buy a biscuit, buy a bit of bacon, and keep on doing what you do. 100%. That means so much to me. I don't belong to the UK with ancestral history. My ancestors did not build the UK. Theirs did. I have to give respect to that. Their ancestors built their homes, built the home for these people, for their children. I am a guest in their home. The least I can do is try to be welcomed, right? Go to somebody else's home and say, you need to have your home according to my beliefs. It's just bullshit. What a crazy mentality to have. It's just crazy statistics. Like Somalis in the Netherlands, they did a study. They cost the taxpayer over their lifetime 1.2 million euros. Whereas Japanese people and Northern Europeans, Americans, or the Western people and Japanese, I hope Koreans are included. They are net 500,000 euros to the Dutch people. That's the way it should be.
And what do you chalk that up to?
There's a bunch of things. How racist am I allowed to get? No, listen. Very interesting, but it all comes down to culture, really, and not being inbred. Inbreeding will reduce. You've got a 400% chance more likely to have an IQ of under 70. I'm very proud to have an IQ of just over 70. Maybe almost triple digits. But that gives me the wisdom and insight to know that I don't have a right. I don't have a right to just live the way I want. If I go to somebody else's home that they've taken care to build, I want to be not a burden, but I want to make it more beautiful for them. I want to say thank you, like any good guest. To all the people that have hosted me on a sofa, soggy sofa or not, I'm grateful. Actually, I don't sound very grateful when I say soggy sofa. That just happened once. But I was still grateful. I was still really grateful because that's the way it should be. They have no duty to host me. And yet they do so from the kindness of their hearts. And that's the way I see immigrants. And you as an immigrant, you were born in Abu Dhabi. That's crazy, man. Okay.
Yeah, pretty wild. I was an oil baby.
Oh, yeah. Well, and has that kind of shaped you to...
Not so much. I left too young. I left when I was 2.
Right.
Australia shaped me most, but what I consider home is America. I'm not yet a citizen.
And your mum is very influential.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, she is very influential in that. She's Canadian, Dad's Canadian. But America is what I consider home. And it's because it's the only... when I was in Australia, I would constantly be called the Canadian kid, likely because of my accent. So then you naturally think that when you go to Canada, they'll go, oh, you're home. And they go, no, you're the Australian kid. So I never really felt like I had a home when I go to Abu Dhabi. It's not like they think that I'm a native, right? I can't even have citizenship there, even if you're born there. They don't give it to you, even if you're born there. So America, even though I'm not a citizen yet with my green card, I still feel like this is home. This is where I feel most at peace, most accepted, most able to compete in the competitive market, the competitive landscape of business or soccer or whatever it is. Dating is also, there is New York.
Gold.
What's that one?
You've struck gold with dating.
I have struck gold with dating. I've got a wonderful partner, and she is everything I could have hoped for.
And you'll repopulate your race, right? Because there's less white people around the world. There's more Indians in India than white people all around the world. Do you know this?
I just saw that Nigeria now has a higher birth rate than Europe as a whole. Nigeria alone has now a higher birth rate. It's producing more babies into
Every
the world.
twerk they do, a baby comes out.
Where do you come up with these, Ryan?
It's verbal diarrhea, man. Yeah.
So you've mentioned bacon a couple times. Let's talk about the bacon incident on Sky News.
In Australia.
In Australia. Give us the whole story there, and not only the pieces we know, but some of the pieces behind the scenes that we might not.
Well, I went to Australia to seek mining money. It's close to Korea, so I can kind of work there and go to Korea when I need to do concerts. And always been fascinated by Australians. Always wanted to try and work on an Australian accent. I figured it out.
Let's hear it.
Put a finger in your mouth. From Australia.
That's actually brilliant.
I've just pissed off all of Australia. But they screwed me over with the drop bears. I really believed in drop bears.
Okay, what happened?
And I found out that it's not real. You know?
Which part?
The drop bears.
Oh, the drop bears. I think, okay, yeah. No, drop bears is something we tell Americans to convince them that they should be always looking up at the trees. Have you heard of hoop snakes as well?
Hoop snakes? No, I haven't. But as a Korean guy, I was extremely disappointed. I was like, where are my drop bears?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look up, I don't know if you've seen this, if you look up drop bears on Google, Australians have gone to great efforts to convince Americans that drop bears are a real thing.
It's like the haggis animal in Scotland. So the haggis animal has 2 legs shorter on one side and longer legs on the other side, so it can run around the hill. So how do you catch the haggis animal? You chase it the other way around. And it just falls over.
Well, the hoop snakes, they are snakes that they wrap around and bite their end of the tail and will go down the hill to catch their prey. And you wouldn't believe how many American I've sold on that one.
I mean, it would be a fantastic, evolutionary skill, If only I could do that.
Wrap around, grab your legs?
I could get around so easily, yeah. Yeah, just hula hoop down.
So tell us more, right? You were in Australia. You are looking for a job. It's not working out. And then where does Sky News come into this? Okay,
let's edit that part. So I was in Australia doing extremely well. I was a super successful person.
Okay.
No. Right. The reason I ended up on Sky News in Australia, Perth, is because I get this Instagram message from Freya, and I do feel very bad for her. She got her show cancelled, but she's well, do you want to come into Sky News? And I don't know what they were expecting, because you look at my Instagram page, I'm not really hiding. I'm being pretty blunt about my beliefs. So I come on to Sky News, and shout out to this wonderful guy called Kenny. He helped me put bacon on my shoulders, just sellotape it on. Usually, I'm very skilled. I don't need sellotape. I don't need E numbers. I have natural bacon on my shoulders, raw and unsmoked. Yeah, and I put it on my naked body. But it was a shirt, and I had to make sure it stays on. So anyway, on Sky News, I get there, and I knew I'm going to get cut off, right? So it starts off fairly normal, it's just like they have their interview with other people. They get to me, so Ryan, what do you think of Charlie Kirk's? And I go, Muslims. And I go, what do I do? The speech was, do you want me to do the speech? I'll do the speech.
Feel free.
A message to all Muslims. There are 50 countries around the world. Why the fuck would you move to the West if you want to live under Sharia law? That's actually not what I said. What I said was, I go, a message to all Muslims: stop worshipping a pedo warlord that slept with a 9-year-old and married a 6-year-old. There's only one culture that pours acid onto women's faces. There's only one culture that makes women cover up their faces so other men don't rape them. There's only one culture that the entire world hates. And the East and West are completely united in ending Islam. Islam is humanity's greatest disgrace. Crusades. No, I'm joking. And then I end it with usually, leave the goats alone.
So you say this, and she interrupts you.
Yes. Well, she's right in there going, holy shit, what the fuck did I just bring on?
And to be clear, it was her first episode of her own show, right?
No, she's done many before.
She's done several? Okay, cool. But after this one...
Yeah, it's kind of gone extinct, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was cancelled, wasn't it?
It was cancelled, yeah.
And she came on and apologized the next day.
Yeah, Sky News in their infinite wisdom decided, can't offend Muslims, all of Muslims on national TV throughout Australia. It is national broadcast. It's funded by the government. Mm-hmm. And it was live.
Australia is quite a Muslim nation too. There's a huge density, a diaspora of people from a variety of Muslim countries, but there's a huge Muslim community there. Hence why I think the Palestine protests were so deep in Australia.
Yeah.
I don't see as many Palestine celebrations now that that the war's over.
Yeah, they've got nothing to fuss about anymore, really. They're quite disappointed that the war is over, it seems.
Do you think it was more of a excuse to get angry or an excuse to hate on Trump policy, right?
I think people are lonely. People are bored and lonely and very horny. So they go to these protests and they're trying to get lucky. I think that's basically what it comes down to.
The new dating game. Pick up at protests.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to meet your... it's actually quite a sensible methodology. Think about it. If you're extremely low IQ, you're very rotund, and your profile is getting 0 matches, you go to one of these protests, and it's like, I don't want any Trump supporters. Well, there's not going to be very much there. You get to finally speak to somebody. And I think it's dating apps on jet fuel. In fact, I'm trying to turn my page into the best database for Islamophobic women. So you guys can pair up with somebody high IQ and sensible and have lots of children.
And how would they go about that?
So basically I say, write down your profile in the comment section and DM each other. And DM each other only if you want to have lots of babies.
Phenomenal.
Guys, I don't want you to screw around. I want you to screw around and have some results to show for it, you know? Not that I'm a bit of a hypocrite. I don't have any children. Not that I know of.
Are there any coming?
I hope. The thing is, now with my job, it'd be rather silly of me to have children without being able to afford private security. Mm. So I'm at the stage now where, a fatwa has been probably issued on my head. I've actually got confirmation from several sources that it has been, but I'm just kind of waiting for Al Jazeera to really kind of push it out there.
How do you feel about this? You walk around New York, you've got a lot of haters out there, people that want not good things for you, let's say. Do you constantly have your head on a swivel?
Well, I'm a 6'3" Korean who eats a lot of bacon. I can take them. It's no problem. Come at me.
So we're still going to the gym.
Yeah. I think I need to load up those plates. Yeah.
You mentioned Charlie Kirk before. He is famous for saying that Islam and Western democracy are incompatible as ideologies. Yep. Do you agree with him?
I go further. It's not compatible with the human race. It's not compatible with humanity. There's only one religion that allows for child marriage. Christianity, Buddhism, Judaism is absolute no-no, right? Child pedophilia is an absolute no-no. Must not do that. Islam, their Prophet Muhammad, their main go-to guy that they worship, is sleeping around with a 9-year-old. I mean, they don't just get it from nowhere. Taqiyya, you're allowed to lie in a religion for your goal of jihad, dawah, whatever. You are allowed to see us as subhuman. What's in the American Constitution? Humans are all equal. That's my belief. That's all religious belief. We're made equal under God. God loves us all. We're subhuman to them. That's why they look at us with disgust.
Tell us more about this taqiyya and how the Islamic community can use it in their cause.
Well, let me give you the academic recitation of taqiyya. Why did the Mexican throw his wife off the cliff?
I don't want to answer that.
Tequila. No, tequila is a bit different. Right, so shout out to Mexico. They're some of the funniest people. And interesting fact about Mexico, it's one of the only food cultures that hits all 5 food senses. Sour, hot, whatever. So that's why it tastes so good.
Spicy people.
Yeah, spicy people, yeah. They know their food. And another fun fact, not to deviate too much, but the Koreans never had chilies. Our kimchi used to be white. Indians never had spicy curries. The Romans never had tomato pasta. And the Swiss never had chocolate. All came from Mexico. Anyway, your question was taqiyya. They can lie.
I appreciate the fun facts, so that's good to know.
A religion that allows you to go against fundamental principles of humanity, which is treat each other as equals, don't lie, be decent human beings. But to allow this kind of shit, they are the odd one out of all the religions. And you just shut up saying that, oh, well, I've got a nice Muslim pal. Yeah, because he's a decent human being. It's not because of Islam. Enough with that. Stop with excuses. We should be able to criticize bad systems.
Interesting. So, to those that call you a bigot, do you accept that?
Yeah, I mean, we're all bigots sometimes.
Explain.
So, it's quite hard to attenuate all your arguments to fit in all narratives. It's kind of like the thumbnail view. When you're trying to explain a big concept, if I've got 30 seconds to try and explain it, it's going to be rather different from when I've got 2 hours, right? I may come off as an arsehole in 30 seconds, but believe me, I can come off as an even bigger arsehole into it. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I mean, the fact is, it's that principle where when you're trying to explain something quick, or let's say you're looking for something on your computer, right? You don't need a 6K image of every single photo when you're trying to find a photo back in 2012, right? It's the same with explaining or trying to explain my side of my argument. I don't want to explain everything in 6K detail. I just want to give a big overview. And then somebody will go, well, there's this exception. It's like, well, yes, there's always exceptions. But how balls deep do you want to go into this argument? It's a waste of time most of the time. Let me just say, leave the goats alone and explains it all.
And so when you say something like leave the goats alone, at face value, most people know what that means. But what is the underlying 6K, 2-hour detail behind it?
On leave the goats alone. I'm so glad that I can go to 6K on leave the goats alone. Brace yourselves, I'm going to mention Pornhub. Not that, I'm extremely experienced or anything. Not extreme. There's some surprising statistics from Pornhub data. Number 1, search gay porn country. Do you know what it is? Pakistan. And then Saudi Arabia, Oman, these countries, right? Very, very naughty.
Is
the
it
most
sort
extreme
of
porn.
Since it's prohibited, that's what you want most?
Yeah. Even if it wasn't prohibited, I guess they have a certain penchant for, bachabazi, dressing up women as little young boys as women, because you're not. It's to get around systems. You're not allowed to have marriage before sex, but you can do it if the boy kind of flips into a girl. It's rather odd. They'll have imams outside of brothels, and for them to use a prostitute or to have sex with a prostitute, they'll marry you for like 12 hours. So you can get you have to get married for a prostitute, then you can have sex with her, then you get unmarried. And
what a phenomenal loophole.
Yeah, I mean, it's for them to use their loop snake.
The hoop snake, that's right.
Oh, the hoop snake. Yeah.
Finish the sentence for me. The West is collapsing because...
Wait, 6K on goats. Let's keep going.
We're going back to...
How many military guys are reaching out to me who've been to, these countries and saying, bro, it's true. I see them all the time having sex with goats. It's just unbelievable. When you have such an oppressive system where you turn women into letterboxes, then what are you going to do? Seriously. It produces ridiculous behavior. Absolute carnage. Poor goats. Where's goat welfare? Think of the goats. How long can you go without you laughing?
It's so tough. All right, let's go back to this then. Finish this sentence. The West is collapsing because...
Well, the West is not collapsing because we're not going to let it. Nobody's going to let it because it's too beautiful to let it collapse. I always say that I can't believe China is going against America. I don't think that they are. I think they're just very similar. China has no religion. China has no, dogma or creed that they're just absolutely nuts about. They just fucking love money. They love money.
Money and power.
Yeah, money and power. They're perfect for the West. Like Asians, if we could just team up, we make the best team ever. Really, such a beautiful team. Any neighborhood where you've got lots of white people and Asians, it's going to be a good neighborhood, right? It's going to be safe. You guys are very creative people. We're good at building shit. Just tell us what to build and we'll build it, That's the ultimate partnership. There's a saying in Korean or whatever. The West, is like five people managing and one person rowing the boat. Whereas for us, we're 5 people rowing like crazy and one person managing. A nice dictator. But I rather have that dictator being, you guys.
I heard this quote recently. It said, the heavens and earth were made by God, the rest was made in China. And I think that's what you're saying here.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's not too far off. And we should keep making shit for you guys. There should never be a situation where we're going at each other. We both like to build shit. We both like being productive. We're both disciplined people. And most Asians I know are Christians with good Christian values. We need to spread love between good cultures. And Korea and Japan, we're 100% behind you guys.
Would you describe your impact as sharing love?
It only makes sense in the context of me being grateful to the West. Without the West, I'd be speaking Japanese or worse, right? I am a son of the empire, technically. The British Empire created Hong Kong and Singapore. Economic superpowers. The only difference between countries that complain about colonization, like Pakistan, we're dirt poor because you colonized us. The only difference between us and them, who've both been colonized, is a shithole culture. Stop with excuses. We are doing extremely well but even if we had colonization, it probably helped us a lot. I mean, the British, we as Asians, Korea especially, the Korean War, what happened? Now we're kind of like the 51st state of America. Glad to be. We're very safe. We have Dunkin' Donuts. No, I'm joking. No, we have a beautiful system. We have democracy. We now create K-pop, Hyundai, LG, Samsung. We've brought to you Squid Games, demon K-pop hunters, which are, never. And I'm sorry about K-pop. I'm a K-pop producer. I like it somewhat, but it gets too much. Anyway, we are successful because we have a united front with Western culture. We accept it, we embrace it. And there's a beautiful partnership, which is why Americans who go back to Korea are so proud of what they created, because you created it. Well done. Thank you. Unbelievable gratefulness. And furthermore, please come over and have some babies with Koreans. because we've got the lowest birth rate in the world at 0.65. We'll be extinct by 2750. So come over, especially if you've got yellow fever, come over, have the babies. Half Koreans, they are genetic lotteries, honestly. Half Koreans, half white, half Asian, they always come out beautiful. Apart from some guys, there's some munters I've seen. But the girls, beautiful.
I saw this one picture from a satellite that showed North and South Korea at once. And it said, this is the result of the greatest experiment on Earth, which is, in the South, obviously, you've got capitalism. In the North, you have a dictatorship, which is socialism. And on, of course, South Korea, you could see all these incredible lights. Yeah. You could see thriving cities. And in the North, you couldn't see a blip, of course. And I don't know if you saw this morning, another North Korean just defected to South Korea by going through the DMZ and running through.
Did he?
Yeah, he made
tank.
it through.
Well done.
Yeah, he ran.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like why there are no Mexicans Olympians, because all the ones that can run, jump, and swim have made it across the border.
Oh, you're going to get canceled. Speaking of canceled, what's your message to those who have canceled you?
Who's canceled me?
I guess you've made yourself uncancelable by aligning with nobody.
Hang on. Facebook has canceled me. TikTok has canceled me.
Instagram the other day.
Yeah, Instagram is now accusing me of child exploitation and child abuse. For me saying that Prophet Muhammad slept with a 9-year-old and married a 6-year-old.
That's funny considering that the Quran
cancelled by Sky News
accepts that as true. It's funny that you're getting cancelled about a fact according to Islam.
Yeah, it's Sahih International 5134. It's right in there. Mm-hmm. Married her at 6 years old. I mean, well, it just says that it's the only religion that has to behave like a gangster or a cartel to defend its stupid ideas.
So let me ask you this. A lot of the time people might say that you are doing things to go viral and saying things for shock value. Have you seen people convert to your cause based on what you're saying? Or is it truly for virality?
Look, Islam is spreading faster than HSV2, oral herpes, right? I mean, I'm not here to tell 10 people. I'm here to tell as many people as I can. And I want to do it in the most funny, genuine, me way. I mean, copy me. Honestly, I don't care. Take my stuff, copy it. Put bacon on your shoulders. Let's start a movement. Bacon movement. Let's. Social media is heavily out. We're heavily outgunned. They're not being cancelled for saying pro-Palestinian bullshit. We're cancelled. We're under attack. We need more people in our corner, in our army. We need more people to speak out, because that's why the narrative is so fucked against Jews and pro-Hamas bullshit, Qatari funding, because nobody wants to do this. I mean, the people who are doing it are extremely brave. Well done. Well done, honestly. I'm kind of patting myself on the back. But I mean, I'm a dude who's very privileged. I've had every single privilege in the world. But if you're some poor girl from Afghanistan who's literally going to get killed for speaking out against your own religion, she's 100x braver than me. 100x. Incredible. Listen to those people. Little girls, they're little holes in the ground, because that's where they go in, where they're covered up, half their body. And then men throw stones at them for trivial shit. Even if they get raped, it was not their fault. They get absolutely annihilated with stones. They're killed. It's bullshit. When they don't want to do a cousin marriage, or they don't want to marry at 9 years old or 12 years old, back into that hole. Can you imagine the evil you need to have in your heart to look at a little girl in a hole, to pick up a rock and to want to throw it at her head until she dies?
It's unfathomable to think that you could hold that hatred in your heart towards somebody so innocent.
Why is anybody defending this? Any father, any human being, any mother, or anybody who has a mother, which should be everybody, right? Should be completely against this. They might go, oh, it's not Islam. Who cares? It's producing a system that's allowing this. No other human race, no other race of humanity is doing this. Nobody else. This is not a white supremacist thing or a Western thing looking down on anybody. You've got all the Asians, Orientals, who are going, what the fuck is this shit? I don't know what accent I did. Don't dare me! You know, these are the Dota bullshit.
I think you'll have their support for that accent.
Yeah,
you
my
read
Pakistani accent.
You read my mind on that next question, which was, what do you say to the people that say it's not all of Islam, it's just some people who interpret it poorly? Are they interpreting it poorly?
A bad system with only 11% of people believing in it caused World War II. Only 11% of Germans were Nazis. 15 to 25% are considered extremists in this religion. Go back to the book. Read the damn book. Read the Quran.
Have you read it?
Yes, I have. Yes. Yeah, you've got the sword. Read the sword verse. Read Surah 4, chapter 34. That just explains the entire view on women pretty much. I like how they say forsake her in bed. I mean, as if. Anyway, and then, you know, the next protocol is the hadith, right? 5134. That's where it says. 5134, that's where it says he married Aisha, a 6-year-old. This is the basic stuff. Then go into Musnad, right? The Musnad has Prophet Muhammad wanted the strength of 30 men. So he slept. We injected with the 30 men of Al-Zut. Oh, yeah. And it's not gay. It's not gay as long as you don't push back. Okay, that's not in the Musnad, but it should be.
It does strike me as odd when you see people so fervently say that eating bacon is wrong, but that sleeping with a 9-year-old is not.
You know, there's that who wants to be a millionaire question. You know, it's just like marrying a child, rape, fucking a goat, and then eating bacon. Which one is wrong?
Yeah, 3 times out of 4, I get that wrong.
Yeah, not quite sure. Well, it's haram. It's haram to touch bacon. Touch it. Kudos to the IDF for dipping bullets into bacon fat, honestly. You know? Because they're not gonna go to heaven. Just wrap them up in bacon. Anybody who does something so stupid, wrap them up in bacon. I mean, wrap me up in bacon. I need a good Halloween costume.
And they'll be safe.
Yeah.
If you had 60 seconds to speak to your younger self, let's say 15 years old,
yeah,
what would you tell him?
I could do far too much in 60 seconds. Okay. I would tell myself, you're not a loser and you can do something with your life. You're not inferior. And ultimately, I am genuinely proud of who I am today. And I've never really been there. But if I honestly think, because I've had to make peace with the fact that I might die, I might not be on this planet for very much longer. And that absolute hideous drivel will be said about me. But I've had the courage to say, even if I'm hung like a chipmunk, I've got the balls to go after something that I really truly believe in. And I've done it losing everything. I've lost, parents who I love. I don't want to mention more family members, but I love them too. You have to be sure doing this. You have to be really, really sure. Do you want to pay the price? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Just like, as I said in The Girl Next Door with Alicia Cuthbert, absolute fucking legend. I mean, is the juice worth a squeeze? Said by that porn star creator. I'll always remember that. He's an absolute Timothy Oliphant. What a legend, you know? That's what I wanted to be. I was one of those dopey kids who got the porn star, you know? I got everything that I wanted in the weirdest way possible. And then, like, the Jews are looking at me, or, like, the people are looking at me, whoever views me as an ally. They're going, not what we expected him to look like, but he'll do, you know? It's like, I'm glad, you know? I'll take it. Yeah.
You recently linked up with another, let's call him an aggressive social media advocate, Sammy.
Sammy Hoot?
Sammy Hoot?
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, decent guy. He's, yeah, I mean, I remember I had to do 50 push-ups to win a pair of trainers.
You gave me those trainers.
Ah, yeah, I gave you the trainers, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. He's a Jewish dude. He's fighting for his life in his country. Good on him, you know? Attacked by 10 Islams. And, yeah, he's got balls, that kid. I don't know what size. We're not that close.
At the end of this day, this channel, it is about masculinity. And Horace Greeley said, fame is a vapor, popularity an accident, and riches take wings. Only one thing endures, character. What do you think men are missing today?
I think we're missing the okayness with dying, with genuine life-threatening stuff. Throughout history, we've had to fight for our lives. And that really shows in your personality. I've had the very good fortune of meeting a lot of Israelis because they just happen to support what I do. You know, they're the ones fighting it all the time, and I'll take support wherever I can get. And Israelis know what it's like to die, to be killed, and that shapes your personality, and it shapes mine when I know that I can get killed for an opinion or go to jail. If there's anything that I would say to other people is that it's extremely useful to know what you're willing to die for. And if you have the honor to have that responsibility to take on a message where you could be killed, to really stand up for something, then it's a blessing. It really is. I genuinely have made peace with dying.
I think it was Nietzsche who said, a man who hasn't found something for which he is willing to die isn't fit to live. And you're saying men have forgotten that there are ideas bigger than themselves that are worth dying for.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll die for my family. I'll die for my, for my country, which I think we've lost.
Which country?
For the UK. And I say that not because I'm putting down Korea. I grew up with a stepfather. This is my step country. This is a country that gave me a home. And the British people have given so much to me. I love this country. I love its history. I'm proud of it. And yeah, I'll die for my country. Yeah. It's just such a shame what's happening to him, man. Like, it's just nuts. I mean, yeah, I don't like the fact that my country, wants to put me in jail, but
you project.
So be it.
It is striking. Now you project a lot of confidence, which I think you have to.
Fake it till you make it.
Is it armor or authenticity?
It's got to be both, man. It's got to be both. Sorry. I didn't have my bacon this morning. Fake it till you make it. Better ask for forgiveness than for permission.
Oh, you got something right on that side, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, we can cut that. There you go. Fake it till you make it.
You can keep it in. Keep it in. It's the real me, Wet tissues and all on my face. Sorry, what was the question again?
I was asking if it's armor or authenticity, and you said it's a bit of both.
Yeah, it's both, My favorite movie growing up was Gladiator. I watched another rendition of it called Gladiator. No, I'm joking. Gladiator is a beautiful movie because it's about fealty. There's an ancient British word that meant a lot. British people are the most badass people I've ever met in my life.
What's that?
Historically, they're the ones who fought the Crusades. They are the ones who built an empire from a tiny little island that spanned the entire world. They invented most of the shit on this planet. These are the greatest badasses. And it's a privilege to be among them. Absolute privilege to be in this culture. And furthermore, for British people, this is really important. But William Wilberforce, he's a guy who ended slavery. And I'm going to have to repeat it. 1807, they cannibalized their navy to fight the Arab Empire, Portuguese, Spanish, French. They're not small empires, to sacrifice your own people to help other people. Come on, why are we not taught this? This is incredible history. And then they effectively dismantled their empire, fighting World War I and II to save the human race. I can't think of a more noble way to let go of your empire. Stop demonizing it. Every empire has done shit. But we take history with warts and all.
It's true. I remember I used to live in Washington, D.C., and I used to live on East Capitol, which is the road that goes eastward from the Capitol. The Capitol kind of splits D.C. into 4 quadrants. And I would run down there, and I was running with a friend, and we reached the Capitol. And across from the Capitol is the Supreme Court. And at the top of the top of the court, it says equal justice under law. And for whatever reason that day I was disenfranchised with something, and I was saying to my friend, can you believe this? Can you believe this nonsense? Equal justice under law. Nothing that we've seen recently has been equal. And they said to me, that might be true. But out of any country in the world, that statement is most true in America. And it changed my perspective because originally I had been comparing America to perfection, which is an unfair standard. Nothing's perfect. But if you compare it to reality, this is where gratefulness of America comes. Because what you were talking about with the stoning of girls who were half buried in sand, what you even see with people getting arrested for not even praying in the UK, for thinking about praying outside churches after admitting that they were praying. These sorts of things seem so unjust. How could it possibly exist? There is a country in the world where it exists less than any other. And that's America, mainly the West, right? And so it is interesting, and I'm happy to hear that you're so proud to adopt it. I certainly share that pride in adopting the values.
I'm thank the UK as well. I mean, the UK had a hand in building America.
100%. I mean, I think you're right in saying that they gave up the hegemon status in World War II and to fight, and that then was taken by the mantle of America.
Yeah, America just seems like to be the best of British, absolute best, a plus more. And there's a saying that the British Empire never really went away; it just transformed into a bank. It's like the Roman Empire didn't disappear, converted to a church. Genghis Khan, Mongol Empire didn't disappear. Look at all of us,
What do you say to people that do talk negatively about the UK or Scotland in particular, your home?
Make sure you have a right to do so, because the UK is under a lot of flack, and I'm reticent to criticize the UK too much. I speak out against the government because I believe that the British people I speak to, they can't stand what's going on. I don't know any Brit who thinks it's okay to arrest somebody for a tweet. I don't know any Brit who thinks it's okay that child grooming gangs is running the country, ruining the country. I don't know any Brit looking at their neighborhoods getting filthy and thinking this is okay. I don't know any Scot who's okay with having being the home. Glasgow is the home. Is the number one place for mass illegal immigration and asylum seekers. They're all being placed in Glasgow. Okay, most Scots I speak to, just like, what is this?
So if it has such little social popularity, Why is it happening so frequently? Do we know?
I think we've got to say it. People don't talk about this enough. Qatari funding is immense. Qatar owns more of London than the royal family. Qatar opened up the Islamic Centre of Studies at Oxford University. King Charles opened it up, going salam alaikum. You know, alaikum salam. But look, there's mass infiltration of Qatari money, which is immense, to universities all across the world. And we're being dictated to by a country, for without oil, they would just be sand. Bullshit. How do they think they're superior to us?
Is this one of those things that people in the UK are talking about, but know they shouldn't? Or is this something that people just don't know?
Most of us are completely oblivious. It's not said in the media, because how could they? You know, Sky News just cancels everything out. This is why it's important for us to share the message, to share it with our friends and family, to have the difficult conversations, even if it does mean you'll lose friendships and get cancelled. But people are fearful of their jobs. People worry about not being able to support their family, putting food on the table. We're living in incredibly difficult economic times. And the truth is, we're losing the war because evil reigns when good people do nothing.
There's a lot of battles you could have fought. You chose this one. Russia, Ukraine, China, Tibet, Myanmar, a lot of different options, and you went with this. What brought you towards this as opposed to something else that you could have spoken about that would have perhaps given you less backlash, less threat of arrest, less cancellation?
This is the biggest problem we have in the UK, by far. Our London mayor is Muslim. We have a mayor of Brighton he can't even speak English. Never mind, I don't think he can speak any language well. It's like eggs and like for breakfast are healthy. It's not even eggs. He's probably talking about some kind of curry nonsense, which is filled with vegetable oil, seed oils. Not a big fan. Anyway, and Shabana Mahmood, who's the Home Secretary of the UK. She has political oversight of MI5, MI6, and the police. MI5, MI6 being, CIA, FBI, James Bond shit, right? Nonsense. Our police, the reason for our police doing what they do is because we've already lost the game in some ways. This is not the UK. London is turning into a shithole because of a mayor who's building like 40,000 homes near mosques because he said in a direct quote, he said, well, Muslim people want to eat halal food. I don't give a shit about your halal food. Stop eating your camel meat. Honestly, you're here in the UK. There's a funny story of UK supermarkets. They put tags because everything gets stolen, right? So they're putting tags on things that are valuable. So they put tags on beef, lamb chops. But you look at the price of pork chops, sometimes they can be higher, £7 as opposed to £4. No tags on the pork chops. I wonder why.
Very interesting. I think I actually have seen that set of reels or news articles on that one in particular.
It's the best way. It's the UK fighting back in a very British way.
What's your take on toxic masculinity? Does it exist? Is it a myth?
I mean, I'm no expert. I'm pretty toxic myself, I guess.
So it exists.
Yeah. Look. Okay, I take the statement back. I'm a flawed individual. I make mistakes all the bloody time, right? But I'm here to improve. If you tell me, Ryan, that was shit behavior, I'll take it. I want to improve. I'm not doing all of this because I think I'm right no matter what. I'm not a religion. I'm not the Quran. I know I'm flawed. I need to go repent every single day. I mean, every single second pretty much at this stage. But look, we're all here to improve. So it can get lazy to just describe somebody. Oh, he's toxic. Therapy language, it's just bullshit. It's just too much, right? Leave me alone. I'm a human being, and you don't call me a narcissist just yet. You know, if you're a paid professional, and you actually know what the hell you're talking about. But if some young college student is like, oh my God, you're just such a narcissist, and you're a whatever therapy language they want to use on me, you're a sociopath. That's a good one. It's like, have you met a real sociopath? Do you know what that is? Have you looked in the eyes of one? Because it's really dangerous. And I'm more likely to buy you a bacon sandwich and make sure that you get home okay. Right? Masculinity is, I think masculinity is just wanting to stand up for what is right.
How do you determine what's right and what's wrong?
Well, I think we're given a lot of grace on that one because we live in beautiful societies. Just look at the results. We have clean water. We have access to good education. We have a lot of freedom. And it might just all be a delusion. You know, we're living in a video game. But it's a nice video game, that simulation that we're in. You know, the fact that we can listen to a podcast and learn so much. Conversations from great people like Chris Williamson, Jordan Peterson, who are somebody on the left I can quote quickly just so I don't sound too far right. CEO, Diaries of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
What brilliant access to information that we have. Beautiful. You know, we're so privileged. These are bespoke conversations that only the elite had access to. Now, everybody, we can stand on the shoulders of giants, literally.
You have a lot of confidence and you do study a lot. What's something you found you changing your mind on?
Politics, man. I mean, it's just, I'm always wrong. I'm always bloody wrong. But that's a good thing. You should be able to change your mind. The whole thing is about changing your mind. The only difference between Christianity and Islam, I think it just nails it in the coffin, is Quran is the word of God. Nonsense. It's like writing a piece of code for programming that you can never ever change. Imagine how shit that software would be if not for updates, right?
Sure.
We should be able to update our software. Old, New Testament, whatever. Have legal theory. Brilliant. We should be able to change our minds. Change your mind, damn it, you know? Sometimes be a flagpole when necessary, but yeah, have resolve, but be open to changing your mind. I am wrong. I am wrong all the bloody time. Embarrassingly so. But I'll admit it. I'll learn and I want to become a better person.
What are those things? Like, can you think of one where you said, I changed my mind on this, or I was really wrong on that?
I'm trying to think of a really good one. I'm trying to think of a really, really, really good one. Do you want it to be to do with masculinity or with Islam, religion?
Anything that was significant that you changed your mind on. Islam would probably make most sense because that would give some humanity to the people who are listening.
Oh, it's a tough one.
Let me change it up. And
No. Yeah. What I have been wrong on is my level of empathy.
Too little or too much?
Again, I have a phrase, may you love humanity so fiercely that you stand up for what is right. And I do worry about the little Muslim boy in his school who's going to get bullied, who's going to be told, leave the goats alone, and get bits of bacon thrown at him. It's not right. And I worry that my message is, flawed. And I wish I was Christopher Hitchens. I'm not. I'm a Timu version of him. And I wish I could be like Douglas Murray, academic, a proper polemist, but I'm not. I'm too retarded for that. But what I can do is I can be funny sometimes, I can make people laugh, and I can give a bit of respite and a bit of levity to a very difficult, situation and message. Where I go wrong is, do I not provide enough empathy for young Muslim boys and girls? But I say this, I hope I can make a difference for them, that they don't need to be stuck in this religion if they don't want to be. That young Muslim girls don't need to be oppressed. And I don't want them to be called letterboxes. But I don't want them in one in the first place. That should never have happened in human civilization. We as humans have failed when Islam came along. That this is still stuck around.
It is difficult to accept that the crime or the punishment for apostasy, stepping away from Islam, is death.
Unbelievable.
If you're going to...
I'm going to have to do it. I'm a Muslim. Ashhadu ilaha illallah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. So I'm going to have to step away from it. I guess I'm going to get the death penalty. Well,
by your
the
own
joys. The joys.
It doesn't seem to be the case in any other religion where...
It's the odd one out.
It is the odd one out.
Yeah.
And it seems to be that way on a couple of different issues, where if presented with Islam and you deny it, right, the punishment for that is also death. I just don't see a lot of Muslims doing that. Several people have confronted me about Islam, and I was like, sorry, not interested. Mm-hmm. I'm still alive. So is that them not following it, or doing the revised hardwired version of it, where they are updating the code in your metaphor, and they are being better than, still believe in it, but upgrading the bad parts?
It's not that I'm taking empathy on you. It's about ability. There's stealth jihad, right? There's a phrase. When Muslims are the minority, they're very concerned with minority rights. When they are in the majority, the minority shall have zero rights. Mm. So it's not a question of them taking leniency on you, but do they have the ability, right? And that's what we're scared of. At the beginning, it's always the same. They can't win with bullets and manpower. But they can, instead of winning with weapons, they're weaponizing fertility and ovaries. And it's a huge birth rate population that is completely outbreeding the natives. Korea, we're extinct by 2,750, 0.65, right? That, we're gone. White people, more Indians than India, than all of the white people in the world. Mm. Where is our birth rate, right? I have a theory. It's because we want to give the best lives possible to the children, right? And for them, well, they're just happy to have as many as they can on welfare benefits, have multiple wives, and just the women have no choice but to breed, and used to living in shitholes. I mean, what can I say? I mean, Jesus, it's just unbelievable situation. Stealth jihad. Watch out for this.
I think it's fair to classify you in the category of comedian. Comedians are very big advocates of free speech. Is there any speech that shouldn't be free?
Yeah, you can't say bomb on a plane. I don't think there is such thing as completely unrestricted free speech anywhere. As I said, you can't just go up to a young child and say sickening words. But there has to be civil consequences as well. You should get you should get smacked if you bear the consequences of your speech. As I said, I'm willing to die. And I don't want to, and I hope I don't, but I am. It's just known. I get death threats every single day. A bullet between your eyes, ching chong, blah blah blah, I'm coming after you. Doxing. They've doxed my passport.
Who has?
Well, my passport's all over the internet. How the hell did they get that? My address, windows smashed in,
Back in Scotland.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable situation. But listen, I mean, weakness. We need to try and be able to face death, and it was a part of our lives. Now we're too cushioned, and I feel alive. I genuinely feel alive. To know death is to feel alive, and I'm ready. Use me. I'll do whatever I need to do for this mission. Dedicated my life to the cause. And there's no turning back. I don't want to turn back. If I could do it all again, I would. Hopefully I'd be more Christopher Hitchens or David Wood. But, you know, I wish I wasn't as dumb as I was or I am. But I'm doing my best.
You mentioned David Wood. Have you heard of his breakdown of the Islamic Dilemma?
Yeah. He's such an academic. He's a brilliant guy. Shout out to him. And I got the 30 Men of Al-Zut from him. So, you know.
One of it's a 3-step process where he basically breaks down the Quran and what it says about itself. And one thing that's interesting about the Quran is that it is the divine revelation. It's unbreakable. It's unchangeable. It's similar to what the Christians might look at as Jesus, right? It's not Bible versus Quran. It's more like Quran versus Jesus. And he says, Islam teaches the Torah and the gospel were true revelations from God. He quotes Surah 1094, where Muhammad was having doubts about what he was hearing from Allah.
Yeah, and then refer to the Bible, right?
That's right. If you are in doubt about what we have revealed to you, then ask those who have been reading the scripture before you. Surah 6, 115. The word of your Lord is complete in truth and justice. None can change his words. So step 1 is that Islam teaches that the Torah and the Bible are true revelations from God. I don't think a lot of people know that the Bible is actually a part of Islam.
Well, it's so new, that's why.
Step 2, the Quran claims that those scriptures were corrupted or misused, meaning the Bible in particular.
Yep.
Surah 446, among the Jews are those who distort the words from their proper usages. But then he kind of brings it home and he says, look, if the Quran says the Bible is the word of God and the word of God is unalterable, and the Quran and Islam also claim the Bible is corrupted or is alterable, then what you're basically saying is this. If the Bible is preserved and true, it contradicts the Quran's message, because the Bible obviously contradicts the Quran in a lot of ways. Therefore, Islam is false. If the Bible is corrupted, then the Quran is false because it affirms that a corrupted text is therefore, uncorruptible. So in other words, if the Bible is true, Islam is false. If the Bible is false, Islam is false.
Well, there we have it. It's bullshit. Don't read it.
The reason I struggle with this is the doctrine of Islam is based on the book being perfect. And on the one hand, you've got several members of the Islamic community saying, we don't believe all of that. But according to itself, you have to believe all of that.
Because it's the word of God.
Because it's the word of God. And I guess the Christians have justification for why they cherry pick. They do that all the time. And they don't see any contradiction in choosing certain verses and not others, and using some as metaphor and all these sorts of things.
Because it's not the word of God, it's written by followers and
Exactly.
disciples.
Exactly.
And legal theory is in place to allow for some conjecture, some maneuverability, and updates, software updates, which Islam is not. It's still running on Windows 95. Actually, Windows 95 is amazing. It's still running on...
It was XP. XP was the bad one.
No, XP was good.
You liked XP? I hated XP.
And XP was good. And
Vista. Windows Vista.
That
exactly.
Was
the bad one.
Islam is Windows Vista. Yeah. And Christianity is kind of like Linux with just...
the Linux update is Christianity.
Yeah. I mean, because Linux is self-evolving all the time.
So the reason I bring up the Islamic Dilemma, you were mentioning Christopher Hitchens, you were mentioning David Wood, academics in this field, and you said you were how did you put it?
I'm an Islamophobe. No, sorry.
You said you're the something version of Christopher Hitchens.
The Timu version of Christopher Hitchens.
The Timu version, which is just hysterical. Now, Christopher Hitchens, obviously, the late Christopher Hitchens now, he's passed. You told me once that he was early to the game and none of us listened to him.
Well, he's the first one that I listened to, certainly. He was so funny, the hitch slap. What a great guy. He's just such a badass. Talk about masculinity. That guy gave he gave all the fucks in the world. He cares so much. And he died. He knew when he was going to die. He asked to go to the chair. He got up when he had full-blown throat cancer. He asked for a pen to be put in his hand over a bit of paper, and he died like that, right to the end.
He was. I watched a lot of his debates because obviously he was fervently against Islam primarily, but that kind of echoed into religion in general. And he would debate apologists like Frank Turek, very strong Christian apologist. Even 7 Days of Divisible. Who wrote that one? Dr. John Lennox, the professor emeritus for mathematics. And one thing I loved about him, Christopher Hitchens said, is he loved people across the aisle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you love people across the aisle?
I'm not so wise. And as I said, I break one of the key commandments of Jesus, which is, love thy neighbor. I can't say I do.
Do you hate them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate them. I hate people who do hideous things. There's no part of me. I'm Asian. I'm Asian with my morality. If you put a girl in a hole and stone her to death, that's no bueno. No, I'm not going to love you. I'm not going to forgive you.
There's no bueno.
You are going to be hunted, and you're going to get the same or worse. Yeah? That doesn't mean I group other people into it. Right? But if you're involved, or you allowed that shit to happen, or you watched with glee, or you accepted it, you're not outright disgusted by it, then you are an enemy to me. If you're not disgusted by that, then fuck you. Simple.
What do you say? You mentioned before having grace and empathy for, let's say, the young Muslim boy, the young Muslim girl. They know, and they're taught at a young age, that the punishment for apostasy is death. They don't want to lose their family any more than you might have. They don't want to lose their community or maybe their sense of identity. Mm-hmm. For them to speak up is social and perhaps even literal suicide. How do you deal with that?
Unbelievable empathy there. Ex-Muslims are some of the greatest people I'll ever meet. Just truly fantastic people. You got to think, like 20% of Israelis are, Arabs or Mediterraneans. You've got to think that Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Iran, they were never Muslims, and they got invaded, and they put up a hell of a fight. Who kills the most amount of Muslims? Other Muslims, right? It's the Muslims who are probably fighting the cause the most. A shout out to Saudi Arabia and UAE. They're coming out with some great thought leaders saying, ban the Muslim Brotherhood. It's bullshit that it's a charity in the UK, and we're funding the Muslim Brotherhood, which is a terrorist organization in UAE.
So are you saying that the answer to peace in the Middle East is to expel Islam from the country that would otherwise hold it?
I mean, that'd be nice, but no, definitely expel shit like Muslim Brotherhood.
What is that?
Muslim Brotherhood is a terrorist organization. They're basically the war dogs of Qatar. And, they're the ones who are planning the actual terrorist attacks. Imagine the Brotherhood where you're a young, lost individual. Actually, Europe is producing more terrorists than the Middle East in some ways. But Pakistan is. But Europe is coming up with an insane amount of terrorists because under the guise of charity and funding through Qatar, they are taught essentially everything you need to know to become a terrorist. The extreme prison rates means that they go to prison and then they can become even more radicalized in prison. It's scary that in the UK, the fastest growing religion is in the military and in prisons. Systems where you harbor the most dangerous people. That's where this religion is growing the quickest. And it's becoming majority. It's not becoming majority now, but it will. And that's terrifying. What the hell? Eat some bacon before you have to go in there. If you're going to a British prison, you're going to be fed bacon. I don't care.
I see with you striking a balance between genuinely caring about kids that perhaps had the upbringing that you did, where they were bullied, or they were maybe hated on and faced a lot of backlash. But then, as they become adults perhaps and dig their heels into a doctrine that you don't support, actively pushing back against that. How do you strike the balance? Let's just say as a layman, not even you, not even Ryan Williams, but how does the layman in the UK, how does the average American balance this?
So listen, I had every single stereotype and, hideous reputation from China growing up. I'm Korean, but I was called Chinese. And you know what? Take it. It's tough. Racism is tough. Stereotypes are tough. But it's up to us as a people for me to speak out to my kin and say, stop doing that embarrassing shit. Stop spitting in the streets. China had the worst reputation. Outside the Louvre in France, there was a sign written in Chinese, do not shit on the grass. And all the Chinese went, and the Chinese government went furious at the French government and said, why is it only written in Chinese, do not shit on the grass? And the French government responded, because there's no need to have it in any other language. Yeah, and it's true, right? We had to sort our shit out. Now China's a respected country. People see on TikTok or whatever how beautiful the cities are. People are going, why the fuck are they able to build a bridge in 4 days and it takes us 4 years? Right? And it's got a nice little Pikachu restaurant on top. We earned respect. Stereotypes don't come from nowhere. I understand. It's like Asians having small dicks. It's an unfortunate thing. In dating world, it was tough to deal with it. But I got over it somewhat. I mean, that's why I'm such a great cellist with my hands. I mean, you find ways to compensate. Just deal with it. And if your peoples have such a bad reputation, then accept it and change it. Be a part of the change. Stop whining. Be a part of the change.
So your message would be less at the non-Muslims and more to the Muslim community that doesn't agree with the, let's say, more pronounced, staunch surahs in the Quran. If you want to change the way people look at you, make it more normal to not do these negative things. Push back when you do see these negative things.
Absolutely. Imagine me with a very long beard from Kill Bill. Change comes from within. It's true. Sort your shit out. Make your bed and try and do something about it. I went on Love is Blind UK and I tried to change the Asian stereotypes, right?
How did that go?
Terribly. I didn't get married. I didn't propose. I think I was one of the only ones not to propose. But anyway, in the dating world, I understand that I'm representing other Asians. I try not to fuck it up for other Asians. I try and do my best to put my best foot forward because we are representing our peoples, right?
Do you think other Asians share that similar group approach to thinking?
Absolutely. We're collectivist people. And in China, it's funny because I think some woman, it was a shame actually, I'll give you some backstory. She didn't know what a toilet was because she's from like backwash nowhere. Okay. So she just let her kid shit on the floor, just on the aisle of the plane. It was so embarrassing. The Chinese government went, right, this is a wall of shame. And anybody who embarrasses China abroad your face will be put onto that wall of shame. And I remember speaking to my Scottish pals about it. And they're like, it would never work in Scotland because all the Scottish guys, we'd want to be on that wall. I fucking love it. I love British humor. It's world class. World class. I mean, Craig Ferguson, talk show host, brilliant. Yeah, I mean, screw, Jimmy Kimmel or whatever. Who's that? Jimmy Fallon, yeah. It's like, bullshit. Yeah. No, Craig Ferguson, brilliant talk show host. Jonathan Ross, or Jonathan Wass, brilliant guy. I mean, British humor is world class. And if I can learn anything from this culture, I hope that I've, imbued some of my, cultural humor learnings into the content.
You certainly have. I don't self-deprecating humor is quite common in the UK. I don't see that being very common in the Asian community. Is that fair? Am I wrong there?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably because you don't understand the language, but don't worry, we have our fair share. I mean, there's lots to self-deprecate on. I mean, we're not the most gifted people in a lot of ways. We have like 300 years of shame. That's what the Chinese call it.
What part has shame played for you in this virality that you've experienced in the last 2 months?
Everything. You know, it's annoying me. It's annoying me greatly that they call Indians and Pakistanis Asian. And it's funny because Asian to me means like Oriental, right? It's like, no, they're Indians and they're Pakistanis. Pakistanis especially, we say this. 2 types of Asians. The smelly Asians and the not so smelly Asians. Smelly Asians, they are ashamed of nothing and offended by everything. And the not so smelly Asians, we are ashamed of everything and offended by nothing.
That is an interesting dichotomy, the idea of shame and being offended. Which would you prefer? I think I'd prefer
I want to be ashamed of everything and offended by nothing. Why should I take offense when I can take it as, you know, genuine feedback and move on? Even if it is racist, then I know that my race has a bad stereotype and I want to be a part of the change.
I had this theory. I remember thinking about this, and I searched all over the web, and I couldn't find anything that described what I was thinking about. And so I just named it Kirk's Law, which basically said there is a negative correlation between your maturity and your propensity to be offended.
Oh, I like that.
As you get more mature, your ability to get offended decreases, or a way to measure your maturity is how easily you can go through life and not be offended by things.
I'm going to start calling you Captain Kirk from one of my favorite movies, Star Trek. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It is a Scottish name.
Take the good with the bad. You know, like as an Asian, we've got some good reputation. As I said, we don't smell very much. That's because of the ABCC1122 gene. You can look it up. We have no body odor. Like I think like 97% of Koreans have the ABCC1122 gene, which gives you dry earwax and no body odor. So I've never worn deodorant. I tried it out. I squish it down there sometimes just to feel included. Yeah.
I had an Asian friend in college, and he always told me that I smelled like milk. And I said, is it just me? And he said, no, it's just white people in general. He said, you smell like milk to me.
You don't smell like milk.
No?
No. That's bullshit.
Not real.
That's him trying to have one up on you. You don't smell like milk.
Okay, good.
You smell like Davidoff cool water.
Let's finish this off. Got about 5 minutes. Which group?
Including the 5-minute delay?
5 more actually after that, yeah. Which group hates you most? And why would you tell them they're right or wrong?
I'll give you one guess on which group hates me the most. I mean, they would be libtards. No. No, look. It's funny. Here's an interesting concept. I make fun of ultra woke communists and that kind of stuff. We're all communists, but for our families. Small enough groups. Like, for example, if you come to my home, I'm a communist. You're eating my food. You know, there's no way that I'm not, having you at my house. I'm making food just for me. I'm going to make it for you as well.
But would you give me your car?
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't just give it to you outright. But if you need, the keys, then go for it. From my family and friends to my child, I'm not going to be like, well, you need to do your part. No, well, you have to. But as a baby, it's just like, I'm going to give my left arm for you. I'm going to give everything I have. We're all that on a small scale. But then we become less and less. But I guess for us, we see the vicissitudes of man, right? That's why we are hesitant and reticent to expand our kindness too far out because it gets abused. And how far you see that circle probably determines a lot of your political beliefs. And I think that's fair. That's why I have to attenuate my views and go, I'm not always right. And I have to challenge my views and go, what am I on the scale? If I'm living in Norway, surrounded by wonderful, Norwegian blonde-haired, tall chicks, I'm such a communist. So they take my money. No problem. It's just like, Korean men are so anti-immigration. They hate it. No way you could have mass immigration. But you go, 200,000 Swedish blonde girls are going to enter Korea. Are you okay with that? Suddenly they're like, guests are like gods. We should treat them with the best of Korea. Suddenly it's just like, no problem, right? So it's just about how you see your tribe. And that's what it comes down to.
Fair enough. If there was one thing you'd want people to take away from this, listening to you, whether they agree with you or not, what would that be?
It'd be buy me a coffee. No, I'm trying
I wouldn't blame you, to be honest.
Yeah, look. We're all flawed human beings. I wish I could do this in a better way, but this is the way that I am doing it. Have a laugh. Have a laugh. It's a dark topic, but if I can add some levity to it, and if it starts a conversation, if I'm your gateway to Christopher Hitchens, to David Wood, to UAE, like brilliant speakers on the Muslim side, listen to them. They are the giants that I'm standing on the shoulders of. I'm a nobody. I'm a idiot kid who put bacon on his shoulders, and I hawk-toured my way into fame. But if that's my role, I accept it. I'm going to be humble and say, I'm not the leaders in the industry. I'm your Timu Christopher Hitchens, and I'm very proud to be.
Ryan, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you very much. Delightful.
We look forward to having you back. Good luck on your upcoming travels. I understand you're going to be traveling to...
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Yeah, for podcasts, I can't say which ones, but Sin City. I'm looking forward to it. From Gotham City to Sin City. Let's fucking go. I love being in America.
How can people who want to support you or at least follow your journey do so?
Well, my Instagram, hopefully it doesn't get banned, is The Scottish Korean. There's only one of me. There was another guy, but I killed him. Can't have competition. And then Twitter is @KoreanScott. And furthermore, I'm serious. I don't actually have a bank account. So if you do want to buy me a coffee, it does make a huge difference. I sound wealthy. I sound like a posh English twat. But, I'm so grateful just for a couch. If you have a spare couch, you can host me on. I'll take it. I can sleep anywhere. I'm Asian. I'm used to a floor and sleeping on a brick for a pillow.
And just to be clear, that does include soggy couches.
Yeah, soggy. I mean, just not soggy biscuits. That's my line.
That's where we draw the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
do you know what a soggy biscuit is?
What's that?
Do you know what a soggy biscuit is?
Well, I would assume it was one that was left in the tea too long before you pulled it out.
Sure, we'll leave it out there. Private school gone. Okay. Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. That's the end.
Thanks very much, Ryan.
Bye.